everybody, it's Heather, the Butterfly Effect, and I am so excited because I have a special guest to introduce you to. This is someone I've admired for a really long time because of, I'm going to embarrass her for a minute. Feel free to be embarrassed. Because of, she has the coolest personal style, and she has a really adventurous lifestyle, and she just is her own person, and she's a really cool person. And you would never know it from looking at her, but she had a problem with her weight, and she and we have a lot of things in common. So I wanted to inspire you and just let you meet this really cool person. This is Jane Smith, and she is, you would never guess. You would never even guess. How old are you, Jane?
I'll be 42 in May.
She is 42. Okay, that is vegan skin for you. I cannot believe it. Like, she look. I seriously thought she was in her 20s when I met her. Like, I just thought she's like the young, cool person in her 20s. So what was life like when you were in your 20s?
Wow, 20 is the worst time of my life.
Oh, I'm sorry to start with that.
What are you going to do? I haven't thought of it, and I don't know how to describe it any more than, like, what's the smell of rain? But what life was like in my 20s food-wise, I remember, much like now, I would eat anything I wanted whenever I wanted it, because you're, like, newly released into the world with, like, your own budget, and you can make all your own grown-up decisions, right? And so mine involved fast food and huge quantities of popcorn. And
popcorn, that was your thing.
that was one of my things. And I also discovered that alcohol was super fun.
Much like many people in their 20s, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny, but I've never really liked alcohol, but my parents had an alcohol problem, so I was like, not gonna do that. But I always say, like, my booze is brownies. Like, that was...
Yeah, and I mean, I hang out with other weight loss peeps, and many of them talk about how much they love sugar, and then they say, oh, but I never had a problem with alcohol. But they're the same thing.
Right,
like,
right.
And one of them is just really a little bit harder on your liver, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. Sugar's really, that's one of the worst things
awful
about sugar.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we've kind of learned is that flour is, you can think of it as powdered sugar. Sugar you can think of as like crystalline sugar with little sharp edges that cut up all your arteries and blood vessels, especially like your eyes and your kidneys because they're so tiny, and your feet. So so flour is the powdered sugar, and then alcohol is like the liquid sugar, and honey is like the
gooey
sticky honey, the gooey sugar. So they're all really bad for you. But what's even worse that I was surprised to find out is like all the fake sugars are really bad for you, and they even I don't think anybody really loves them, but they don't. They think that they're better for them than regular sugar.
Yeah, and Ma tried with that. When I was a kid, I never enjoyed soda, but tea was my thing, and I would always want it sweet because young people like sweet things. But before Equal was a thing, before I never got into NutraSweet, but saccharin. We actually had saccharin in a squeezy bottle in my house, and the glass of tea, I would squeeze the saccharin in probably a half an inch in the bottom of the glass.
Wow.
Gross, huh? But,
did you have any? Were you heavy as a child?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not as clever as you, so I didn't I wasn't born at 7 pounds, and then that was the last time I was at my healthy weight for my height. But I was a fat kid, and like the first food I remember having a kind of unhinged relationship with was as a toddler with rice cereal with bananas.
Isn't that funny? Even with rice cereal,
and even as a toddler, like
yeah. And I think I've told this story before, but my mom had like the little butterscotch candies, and they were in the wrapper, and she had them just out in the candy dish like people did in the 70s. And I got one, and I loved it, and I got another one, and I loved it. And so finally she put it on top of the refrigerator, and I remember pulling out the drawers, like the towel drawer and all that stuff, and the silverware drawer, and using it as a ladder to climb to the counter to get to the top of the fridge. And that's the first time I remember stealing food. Like, I was very sneaky about it, and I was 5, and I remember, I mean, it's so funny that you can be like, this is exactly what I did when I was 5, 20, 15, 25, 35.
Yeah, and to look back with it on the hindsight of like rational adult brain, but like at the time it made perfect sense as a 5-year-old, but like even
then I knew I was doing something wrong.
Well, even in my eating out of the trash days, like it seemed perfectly logical at the time. Like,
yeah, because you threw away that pizza with it still in the box, so it's fine. I know. I've learned to like it's sad that it got to that point, but I had to learn to like ruin the food.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put it. We have compost cans here in the Northwest where they take your rotten food and stuff like that. I'd have to put it in the compost. If I didn't put it in the compost, it could still be fair game, especially if the cookies were still in the package. And we have to realize, like sometimes stories like this will shock people,
Yeah, and
it's so nice
my
to have
sweetie,
someone else that understands.
Like my sweetie doesn't comprehend it at all. He's like, but you had money. You could buy your own stuff. You didn't have to eat out of the trash. I'm like, I know.
It's the same reason that if I bought, 5 things of cookies or something, thinking I would binge on this kind and that kind because the variety would get me going. Even when I was stuffed and I still had like 2 left over, I still had to eat them. Like I couldn't throw them away. They had a weird power over me. And I think that people just have to realize that it is hitting exactly the same parts of your brain as like cocaine or anything else. Like it's a physical addiction.
And it feel like I get so geeked up about it to talk to people about it when I find somebody else who understands that I don't have to explain it to, who just doesn't shake their head and say like, what?
What's
You're not
wrong
being
with
logical.
you?
Like, of course I'm not being logical. That's the whole problem.
And for me, it was a huge relief to find out that this is physical. Like I'm not a bad person. Like how come the whole world can handle their cookies and their pizza and their ice cream and I can't like leave the gallon unfinished or, eat the whole pizza, or even if I don't eat the whole pizza because I'm sharing it with somebody, I want to eat the whole pizza.
I'm thinking about like, why aren't you eating those last 2?
Yeah, exactly. And are you going to eat the last 2? And will anybody notice if I eat the last 2? Yeah. And like, eat the dang pizza. Like, if it's, eat the dang pizza. So,
and I probably, without experiencing for myself, I probably wouldn't believe that it was physical. But like, like it's so much fun to be normal.
Exactly. And so what was your like worst moment? Like, did you, like for instance, I say, there was a time when I was going to a drive-thru like 3 times a day. And if I had $10 in my account, I would probably spend down to the 10. Like I would hope that
that's why
dollar
there's a
in the
99-cent menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my worst, so even as a vegan, when I stole food or eat food out of the trash, the food that I stole or ate out of the trash wasn't vegan. And,
right. So
like,
that adds to the shame, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like, I'm very open and I could tell you like all about them, but I still like kind of cringe when I think about how I wasn't living in alignment with my own values because of the way this thing works. Like in the same way that some people are born with 1 leg, some people have 1 eye, some people don't use their auditory canal the same way I do, but like this brain just doesn't like relate to food the way I guess most folks do. But I stole my roommate's non-vegan noodle food, and I got caught doing it, and I still didn't stop me. Like,
you still wanted it. Yeah, that is. And then, can you talk about like the aftermath? Did you feel like a bad person, or were you just waiting for the next time you could do it?
Every time was the last time. Every time I was never doing it again. Like,
yes,
every time it was just this once.
And did you have to eat all of your favorite foods because tomorrow you were going to be perfect?
There was many, I mean, still, even after I started Ultimate Weight Loss, there were days when, if I wasn't eating in alignment, like if I wasn't compliant, then the whole day goes out the window. But
sure, because we have to be perfect, right?
Otherwise, don't bother.
So that's what's kind of crazy about it. Yes. Hope will do anything to get to Jane.
You're famous. You're famous now.
Yes. Hi, Hoper. Usually it's Hanny that's the camera star, but so can you talk about when you had your first compliant day that you knew you were going to be able to stay on it?
Gosh, when I had my first compliant day, it was when I knew it was going to be forever. It was so fantastic. I don't enjoy restaurants, but my cutie does enjoy restaurants, and so we would go out with friends to restaurants, and there's a specific bar in Tacoma, Washington that had a salad that you could order compliant with probably only like 2 minutes of description to the waiter instead of the 40. You know how hard it is to order a compliant salad. I do. But so this is a relatively quick to order salad, and it arrived with
pancakes?
No, corn tortillas.
Yeah.
Which corn tortillas, like how right of the red line are they? But anyway, it had been my habit to eat them, but that particular day there was an absolutely no flour challenge, and I was eating the tortilla, and I realized, oh, this is on my like there are some things you let slide in UWL. Like some people are okay with salt and something, but I wasn't. Like none of those things were cool with me, except apparently I ate tortillas. But then I realized it wasn't on the challenge, and instead of thinking like, well, may as well order a drink and dessert now, but instead of thinking that, I just tossed it to the side and finished my salad. And I didn't get
Do you see how excited I was for you?
But like I was excited for myself because I realized I'm not going to get the sticker today, but this is the last day I'm not going to get the sticker.
That's so cool.
It was so obvious that I keep pointing to my brain like, I'm
yeah,
going to take
well,
it out and show it
it's
to
a
you.
brain
But,
thing, right?
the way the brain was so different that it could just be forever, and it's been so. And I mean, how positive is anybody about forever? Like maybe tomorrow I'll decide not to be vegan anymore. Like maybe I'll get some new fact and change my mind. But the way with the input that I've got now, this is pretty consistent life from now on.
That's so cool. And can you talk about what this is the part you're not going to believe. How much weight have you taken off? Because she looks like somebody that has never been heavy.
Yeah, but everybody who's not heavy looks like somebody who's never been heavy. Like
I don't know. I can usually spot a stretch mark. I can spot.
Oh, they're here. They're here. I can show them to you. I have to take it all off. But I lost probably in 2004. I lost 70 pounds with Jenny Craig, and then I gained some back. Not much. Like maybe I only gained 20 or 30 pounds back, but it always been the back and forth struggle after that. Because the way Jenny teaches you to lose weight is by basically weighing and measuring, and so you spend your entire life hungry for the rest of your life, and that uses a ton of your mental bandwidth to be hungry all the time. And like now I can be hungry and just like be hungry. It's not a big deal. Like
it's not an emergency.
I should have eaten at the restaurant because I was hungry, but I was just kind of cranky and I didn't want to explain. I want a potato without this and a salad without that. And I was just like, I'll have a glass of water, thanks. So like I'm hungry, but it's not a big deal. But before I got the calm, stable brain, like hunger wasn't an option. It just made you crazy, and that's all you can think about is what you're going to eat next. You can't think about the fun stuff. It's just what you're going to eat next.
And Jenny still lets you have some sugar and flour,
doesn't
she?
And alcohol. Yeah, so it was just perpetuating the craving. So it wasn't until...
It was like sheer willpower that you were staying on it, which congratulations on being such a strong person.
Yeah, but like this is something that when you asked me about weight maintenance, this was something that I wanted to tell you about. I went through a time when I was working full-time and teaching scuba diving more than full-time.
Cool.
And that was, it was after Jenny, and it was while I was still doing that back and forth struggling, like weighing and measuring. And just to tell you how much exercise you have to do to escape your fork because I was eating junk food vegan diet. Junk food vegan, yum, junk food vegan.
I think Hope's a fan.
which is basically alcohol and French fries. But I taught scuba diving and I bike commuted. So I would bike commute.
You were exercising like crazy.
Yes, let me tell you how crazy this was. I would bike from Bothell, Washington to Seattle, Washington, work 8 hours a day, and I wasn't biking the whole way. I was like biking somewhere to put my bike on the bus, and then go to Bellevue, Washington, and then teach in Bellevue for a couple hours. No eating is happening there, and none of the time between because I'm busy going from one place to the other. And then we would go to the pool and teach in the pool for 4 hours a night.
Wow.
In addition to loading and unloading 1,000 pounds of scuba gear every day. I am talking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I got Friday off.
Wow.
But then every Saturday and Sunday we would teach open water scuba classes again, which is incredibly physically demanding. If a 200-pound man diving in cold water burns about 600 calories an hour.
Wow.
And runners don't believe that because they think only running burns energy. But like, trust me, you put like my my scuba gear probably weighs as much as I do, so I double my weight when I'm walking from here, that quarter mile to the ocean, and then I get in the freezing cold ocean, and so I'm exerting myself like mad.
Yes.
To try and keep up with the French fries and wine that I would finally eat at the end of the day.
And this was after you had already taken off weight, so you're trying to keep it off, right? Like,
yeah, but
just
like
working like a dog.
It's that is an unreasonable amount of work for anybody.
Yeah.
And I still weighed 20 pounds more than I do now.
Wow.
And I don't exercise very much at all anymore. Like, we don't teach scuba anymore. We just do fun dives. And I moved to Tacoma, and my bike commute is now a mile and a half. So
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Can I just, I think it's so cool. So you do something that I really admire, which is you call plain and sane, right? Plain and sane. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I started UWL, it was 2015, and I very quickly dropped the last. I think I went from 140-ish to now I'm 120-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty quickly. Maybe it was more than that, but it doesn't matter. Like, suddenly all my clothes fit again. Like, I was at the, what am I going to do? I can't buy new clothes. And it all went away when I did UWL. And I can eat all I want, and I'm satisfied all the time. But I hate cooking, and I'm a terrible cook, and I'm really lazy. So basically, my Monday through Friday is on Monday, I stop at the Safeway that just... Tacoma has food deserts. It's not as severe as Camden, New Jersey or anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just really lucky that between where I live in Tacoma and downtown, there's a Safeway. And it's such a scary Safeway that the suburban, the
people won't go there.
The people that come from Seattle to visit Tacoma get scared of this Safeway. And the first time you go into it, you're like, is this really a Safeway, or is it just a very large convenience store? But it's got produce, which is more than a lot of stores talk about. So what's plain and sane? I buy a couple bags of salad, and I buy a couple of frozen bags of vegetables, and I take them all to work with me on Monday morning, and I keep them in the fridge all week. So I eat a salad for breakfast that came out of a bag, and then I thawed some frozen vegetables, and I eat that for lunch. And I'll cook oatmeal and bring it in a mason jar. And that's what I have for lunch. And I made some potatoes, and I'll eat those. And then that's
so. And
I don't make look at this awesome collar on. Hope is jealous.
They're loving. They're loving Jane.
But yeah, I don't really cook. I have in the last probably since last September, I have made 1 pot of split pea soup and 1 pot of a tomato soup.
Wow.
And
what does that do for you? So I know you said you just don't care for cooking and stuff like that. But I have a thing with variety that I get really excited. Like, if my food needs to taste good so that I'll still eat it, but it can't taste too good. You know what I mean? Do you have that too? I don't know if you guys can see, but Hope thinks that Hanny is her puppy, and whenever he comes in, she always has to lick him and check him out and make sure he's okay.
What a good Hope! What a good Hope!
You're a good dog, huh?
I don't know if it does. If it makes me very excited when I go to potlucks.
Yeah. Do you want to eat all the things?
I'm surprisingly not as crazy as you'd think I'd be. Am I bread? Are you making biscuits on me?
Don't hurt her
no, it's
dress.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What a cute dress.
Thank you.
One of the things I love about you is your personal style.
It's got flamingos on it. If you want to.
Yes, she's got flamingos. And when we were in Vegas, she wore butterflies for me. That was so sweet. Was such a sweet person.
But I don't know if it keeps me plainer or saner. But I am. It's overwhelmingly motivated by laziness, which. A psychologist recently told me that you shouldn't call it lazy, you should call it unmotivated.
Or energy conservation.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But, they say that in the pleasure trap, they say that we're motivated by, for survival. So food, sex, and conservation of energy, right? So you're conserving your energy. Yeah. But you do bike, though, and do you do any other kinds of, you said the exercise has really calmed down. When you were exercising so frenetically, was it because you just love scuba diving?
I do love scuba diving. I love animals, and there are a special place in my heart for domestic animals because good job, humanity. You made it so this cow can't survive on its own anymore. You have to take care of it. But like animals in the wild, I mean, they're the point. And so being able to go to the ocean, which is what most of the animals in the world are ocean animals, the world is theirs. And when you get to go underwater and see it, you understand how we only think the earth is the dirt that we stand on and live on, but really the earth should be called the ocean because it's all ocean and there's so much life down there. And I kind of considered it my personal charity to introduce as many people as possible to Puget Sound and have them like, Puget Sound is the body of water that's around Seattle, and get them to like see the animals down there and what they need to protect and like why they should, you know, say no to their plastic straw or whatever.
You know, and isn't it true that like people are so insulated from nature now, and when they see it, then they care about animals, and they, you know, people will say, I'm vegetarian, but I eat fish, and I'm like,
let me introduce you to this fish. Yeah,
and
like,
the fish wanted to live too. Like fish feel pain,
and like crabs and shrimp are actually some of my very favorite animals because when I started diving, I had a hard time equalizing my ears. And so I would just hang out in kind of 20 feet of water, basically, with whoever was there. And they were mostly crabs and shrimp that I would get to spend all my time with while my buddies waited for me to equalize. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, and so you get to know their adorable little crustacean personalities.
So I just want to say, because we keep saying UWL, so if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Chef AJ and John Pierre started a program called the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, which is pretty much the only one I know that's like vegan and sugar, salt, and oil free and alcohol free. So it's really clean, it's really unprocessed, and it's all about, for a lot of us, it's kind of the last resort. Like we thought we were hopeless, and then we found out it's just our brains. We're special flowers, and we're special snowflakes, and we have more sensitive brains, and we're not made to survive in this poison food environment, you know, where there's crack on every corner, basically, if you're a food addict and stuff like that. So what is life like now? Like, oh, can you tell them like what kind of house you live in?
Okay, so we moved out of our big house 3 years ago. We lived in Bothell, Washington, and the cutie was commuting. I think it's 150 miles round trip, and I've been interested in tiny living for probably 10 years, and he got into tiny living, and we decided, like, why not now? Like, why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah, so we our house got he doesn't like it when I tell it like this, but our house got condemned because the county wanted to put a bridge where the house was, and so we had to move out from there, and the county was paying us this money, and so we used it to buy a little trailer. I think it was only like a 28-foot 1983 resort trailer, which I really love. We called it Doghouse 1. We now live in Doghouse 2. Doghouse 2 is 190 some square feet, but if we put out the pop out, then we have 213 square feet, and that's really important because we have a Malamute, and she's huge. So that's
not
why it's
exactly
Doghouse
like
2.
a tiny living dog, right?
No.
Like Hope might be.
Yeah.
But that is so cool, and so you guys are just free, right? And no property tax to pay, and
no electricity bill.
That's amazing. And so if people want to learn more about tiny living, they can. She's on Facebook as Jane Smith, and we'll look for her beautiful face because there might be more than one Jane Smith.
You'll see this much of me because it's got my scuba mask just right
there.
Oh,
that's so cool. So look for someone in a scuba mask if you have questions about tiny living.
And I love talking about it. I'll never shut up.
That's so cool. Or you can ask questions in the comments, and I'll make sure she sees them. But so what would you tell somebody that is afraid they can't think about the even possibility of going I can't go the rest of my life without, insert the word, chocolate. I'm fine except for cheese. Or I just don't think I could live without this. I can't go through holidays and birthdays and parties and not have that stuff. So do you struggle every day and want to do that?
Before I escaped the poisons that were perpetuating that, I did struggle every day. Mm-hmm. And
we still struggle sometimes. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but there are times I'm like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's easy for me to see the forefront of the misery that causes my loved ones. So
Yes.
Like,
Isn't that such a selfless thing to do, to take care of yourself? Because if you don't take care of yourself, who will take care of you?
yeah, like
And is that the life you want for them?
I
right?
drink quite a bit, and I don't think you ever get diagnosed as an alcoholic, and there's no checklist for alcoholism, but, like, I drink plenty, and that would probably be the hardest thing for me to, like, and I was doing every game possible because I wanted alcohol in my life. I didn't want to give it up forever, and I was all kinds of games about how I was still going to have this relationship with alcohol, and I learned that alcohol is a total bastard friend. It's a jerk, and what do I call it? I call it that poison that robs happiness from tomorrow. And it was weeks and weeks after I had my last drink that I was still encountering days that alcohol had already stolen the happiness from, like, weeks and weeks in the future. Mm-hmm. Probably months and months in the future. But I mean, I can be excited about the freedom I have from those poisons.
Yes.
Like, oh, flour. I can't tell you how bad flour's bad news for me, but
yeah.
On the other hand, I'm really big onto autonomy for other people. I mean, not where it comes to their freedom impinging on the freedom of another. Like, mm-hmm. I think that pig has its right to its own life without you hiring somebody to murder it, but, you know.
Yeah, but
I think you're a monster, but I'm not going to tell you that every day.
That's nice, because sometimes vegans get a reputation for, like, being sanctimonious. And honestly, like, I was the worst. Like, I would have, like, a pint of Haagen-Dazs in one hand and a rack of ribs. Like, I was, so.
Yeah, I was there, but, like, everybody who's free of those now, like.
We're so happy to be free.
Well, we're happy to be free, but, like, we didn't start that way.
And the way, like, when I see something that I want, I think, it's almost like you. Like, I zoom to the future. Like, I'm gonna feel so bad, and I'm gonna have to, you know, I won't be living in integrity. I won't be able to help anybody else, you know. And so it's just kind of, not worth it. Mm-hmm. Not going there.
Well, and to me, I just see the sorrow in the item. Like, it's just. Like, it's such tragedy that, I mean...
Yeah, it's true.
That used to be my source of happiness, but, yeah, like, what a limited life I had, that was the only happiness there was.
Right, right. I like that saying, I think it's Spudfit, that says, keep your food boring so your life can be fun, and that just made so much sense to me, because...
And it is so much fun, and I remember it now, like...
I can't tell you, like, the dateless nights and the jobs I should have applied for, and I didn't because I knew I wouldn't get it because I'm fat, you know, whether that was true or not, or just watching my kids go, like, a really... one that stands out was we went to a water slide, and I really wanted to go on it too, and I'm just like, there's no way, you know? There's no way. Disneyland, all that kind of stuff, just watching it, you literally are watching everybody else have a life. Mm-hmm. And you're huffing and puffing just to, like, literally keep up with them, you know?
Or, like, how hard I made it on the roller coaster, but it was kind of dicey whether or not that thing was going to go down.
And you're like, am I going to die because I got on this roller coaster? I know, I just stopped going on them at one point, but I'm sure they were very glad. So just to end on really positive, so how long have you been, like, on maintenance, or how long have you kept this weight off? Because they say
I started September 20, well, I mean, I had been on National Weight Registry after Jenny, mm-hmm. after having lost 70 pounds.
But now you've taken off 90, right?
Oh, it's been over 100. Like,
over 100,
yeah.
But over 100. Can you picture her 100 pounds bigger? Because I cannot.
It's actually kind of fun, because the extra skin you have, like, I can pull it up here and watch it move down there, and it's, I don't know.
It's like Play-Doh, or I don't know, like more like bread dough.
Yeah, and like it's a different kind of texture. Like the flab where I didn't have a lot of extra Jane Smith. The texture of the, what do you call it, non-adipose connective tissue?
Yes,
it's just different.
So how long have you? Jenny. Let's start from Jenny, because that's.
I don't know. So I was on National Weight Registry after that, but when I September 21st, 2015, AJ started a challenge, and that just happened to be the day I joined Ultimate Weight Loss, and probably by January I thought I had lost all the weight I was going to lose, but I recently finished a mastery course with Ultimate Weight Loss, and I think I took off another probably 5 pounds.
Wow.
unexpected because you think you're
And
there.
that's 90 days.
Yeah.
And you were already at goal weight.
Mm-hmm.
She was already at goal weight. And so at least almost 2 years of keeping it off. And so people who don't know this statistic, people can take weight off, but almost nobody keeps it off. Like they say it's like 1%.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta keep wanting to live the way that you lost the weight.
yeah, you just have to keep doing what you were doing,
And
right?
if I can tell you how easy and how satisfied, like there are days that I still cry that I'm not hungry anymore. Like there's a beautiful essay that I have read called The Size 6 Harem, and it's about how Western women knock themselves out to try and stay thin. Like the counting and the portion control and the eating weird things, but like just to be able to eat normal food, as much normal food as I want every day. And if, God damn it, I want more potato today, like eat it, go ahead. And I will feel satisfied and I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just so grateful to not have that obsession anymore.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes, because people, at my work, oh, I'm doing Whole30, I'm doing this, or don't you think that's too much carbs and stuff? And I say, well, I don't know. I lost 300 pounds eating pretty much only carbs, like a little protein.
I'm so mean. I'm just like, gosh, I don't know. I guess I've only lost 300 pounds. Like,
exactly.
I know. Like
maybe you're right. Maybe I should look into paleo.
You could be right. I've only lost 100, practically none.
Yeah.
Only kept it off 2 years. It was like,
So,
how long does that happen?
Exactly. So. Yeah, we just smile and eat our potato, right? Like,
but
how much stuff do you want to say that you don't say,
oh my
Jane?
dog, I am terrible. But like, I mean, and when we just smile, but look at your smile. Like, look how radiant you are. Like how, like, it is a deep and abiding happiness that I would love to be able to share with everybody.
Yeah, I just feel free. I just finally feel free. And yeah, there's not a cookie or a pizza or a rack of ribs or a Haagen-Dazs. Sorry if I'm triggering people, but those were my things. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm never going back. Never going back. Thank you so much. We've been planning this forever, and she drove all the way from Seattle area just to do this, you guys. If you want to message Jane, just leave it in the comments. And if you want to know more about UWL, just go to eatunprocessed.com or ask one of us. We'll tell you. I think it's not for everybody, but if you're ready, it's definitely it's the only thing that worked for me. I literally tried everything. If you can think of like a crazy diet, I totally tried it because I've been fat my whole life, and I never stopped trying from age 11 when I got my first diet book, Never Say Diet by Richard Simmons. So me and Richard, we gave it a shot and been giving it a shot ever since, and it's the only thing that worked. And it's worked for a lot of people. You met Laura, you met Jane. Anyway, I love you guys. If you have any questions or suggestions for people I should interview, leave them in the comments. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great week.